All stories are the same. This is well known by those who have heard any of the 7 urban legends that you're about to discover. Their existence is a challenge to the senses. They exceed the limits of the imaginable and aren't suitable for a young audience, as they will take us to the darkest heart of the cities and show us that no matter where you live, horror is hiding out there, right under your window, and you're about to meet it. Do you dare to accompany us through these creepy tales? You've been warned. So, if you're absolutely sure, then it's time to begin. Number 7. In the heart of the United States, where civilization has failed to impose itself on culture, the Seminole Native American tribe meets a monstrous creature, a cannibalistic bird that has been prowling the dreams of its victims for centuries, attacking them at their most vulnerable. You probably don't know its name, but after learning its story, you will never forget it again. This beast responds to the name of Stikini and is known as a perverse sorcerer who turns into a night owl through black magic. However, to do so, they pay a painful price. They must vomit out all their internal organs until they are completely empty inside. Only then do they manage to transform into a seemingly harmless creature, but savage to the core. Stikinis prowl the villages at night, and when they find a victim in a deep sleep, they slurp the heart of their prey to their mouth in an agonizing procedure that ends at dawn. By then, when relatives go to the room, they only find the corpse of the victim. Undoubtedly, this creature is evil, and for Native Americans, it's a demonic being with which they have struggled for generations. However, its murderous methods are a friendly gesture when compared to the next creature on the list. Number 6. The next creature is among the most feared creatures in India. Its legend has spread throughout the country to become one of the most repeated urban myths, but also believed ad nauseam. Generally, this creature prowls the towns and cities, always during the early morning hours and with a thirst for blood that would terrify any animal. The natives call it Brahmapurusha, and although it's essentially a kind of vampire, it walks as any citizen might. It has an elegant bearing and goes unnoticed among the crowd until it managed to corner its victims in a lonely street. At that moment, everything becomes really dark. It's said that this creature murders its victims and takes out a skull cup and fills it with their blood to drink it calmly. But after emptying it, its wild side awakens and it digs out the brain of the corpse, tears the body of its victim, and once it's satisfied, it uses the remaining organs as a hat. Undoubtedly, this is a horrifying legend that many are wary of checking out, but it doesn't come close to being able to compare to the terror of Madagascar that you'll learn about next. Number 5. Madagascar is a fascinating place that few people know about. In this small part of the world, nature grows free and unrestricted, although sometimes it is precisely this blessing that is responsible for some spooky stories. Fearing a plant seems impossible in the world we know. But when you go to Madagascar, things change, and this was recorded by every tourist who visits the place. According to the stories, there's a slimy tree in this place that has been devouring every person who crosses its path since the time of the first settlers. It's known by the name of Yateveo and is covered with branches as long as tentacles and a size of more than 2 meters. It looks like an ordinary tree from a distance, but when a living being crosses its path, it twists hard. Its long branches bend around the victim and monstrous teeth emerge from its bark to chew the flesh of the person until it disappears. No one knows how to explain the origin of this legend, nor is there any known way to identify where it's located, since it changes position at will and is similar to most trees. The only way to discover it is by standing in front of it, although no one is brave enough to try. Although if we talk about courage, Many people lose it almost immediately when it comes to facing the terror of Scotland, a creature you'll hate as soon as you meet. Number 4. Europe is an ancient continent full of mysterious creatures that have inhabited towns and cities for centuries. In Scotland, however, one of the vilest is lurking the streets. It's known for its particular love for blood, and despite being no taller than a 9-year-old boy, it's as evil as the most wicked man you've ever met. The creature is generally described as an elusive goblin who murders out of boredom. Others have categorized him as a wild ape who attacks with such force and speed that it's impossible to escape his claws and huge tail. His name is Redcap, and its abode is located near castles and ancient ruins. There he prowls the days and nights, waiting for locals or tourists to visit these historical relics to attack with inhuman strength. According to the stories, his small hands are like razors, and he can subdue men weighing up to 200 kilos. However, it doesn't delay in annihilating those who fall into its clutches. It kills its victims in minutes, and to do so, he usually tears their necks, as he needs human blood to continue dyeing the red cap it wears. The only way to get rid of this lethal goblin is to recite a Bible verse from memory, although few people manage to pronounce the words when they encounter him. However, at least you have a chance of escaping its clutches, something that, unfortunately, the victims of the following urban legend have never counted on. Number 3. Can a baby be a death trap? To many, this would seem impossible, but in the Philippines, they are convinced of the opposite. In this country, newborns can represent evil in its purest state, especially if you hear the child crying in the middle of the street and trying to go to the aid of the poor creature. That would be a fatal mistake, according to the myths, as this is precisely the method that Tinayak uses to lure his victims. It's generally believed that this child was inseminated by the devil in the body of a woman who went mad after giving birth to this little creature. Therefore, the baby was left to his fate, although he isn't helpless at all. He cries every night, waiting for someone to come and help him, but when people come and take him in their arms, everything becomes very bloody. The baby bites their necks and flesh to death. No one has managed to escape from this demonic creature, and over the years, corpses have been found with wounds that fit this description. Even so, this isn't the first perverse creature that acts like this. In Japan, there are dozens of them with many similarities, although the one you're about to discover is unique and exaggeratedly terrifying. Number 2. Japan is the epicenter of the world's souls and ghosts. Its folklore has so many spooky creatures that hundreds of books have been written about them. However, when it comes to spirits, the Japanese try to play it safe, as one never knows if they're vengeful or friendly. However, when it comes to Kushi Saki Onna, there is no doubt. The only coherent decision is to escape as soon as possible. According to the legend, Kushi Saki is the spirit of an ancient samurai who murdered his wife and, before committing suicide, made a mask with her face. It shows a large, mocking smile like that of a joker, as well as large scars and deep wounds. Apparently, this anima wanders around the cities in grief wearing his wife's mask, and when he approaches someone, he asks them if they think she's beautiful. If anyone dares to deny it, he murders them without batting an eyelid. The same happens if he asks anyone about their relationship. Those who agree to have one suffer the same bloody end. No one knows why this turtle soul wanders around looking for new victims, nor what's the reason for wearing his wife's mask. However, his enigmas separate life from death, something similar to what the next creature on this chilling list is capable of. Number 1. Out of all of the strange creatures, the following one has generated great fascination throughout the world. Its depiction has been present in numerous cultures, and since the Middle Ages, it has left its mark on the Western world. It's generally known as a merge of different animals, and encountering it means not only physical death, but eternal suffering after death. Its origin is in Persia, where it was known by the name of man-eater. However, on this side of the world, it's called Magikarp, and is one of the creepiest creatures you could ever come across. In all the texts, it's described as a creature that has the head of a man, the body of a lion, and a tail similar to that of a porcupine, but with poisonous quills. In some cases, this tail is replaced by the sting of a scorpion and represents the greatest incarnation of evil on earth. Its appearance symbolizes death, corruption, envy, and oppression, and generally heralded the arrival of terrible events. During the Middle Ages, it appeared on numerous occasions and was recorded throughout history. Few were able to survive its attacks, and after centuries of study, no one has managed to decipher the mysteries of this demonic creature. Of course, like all these stories, people consider it part of their urban legends of the world, facts that aren't part of reality, although they don't think the same when they are the ones who face mysterious and spooky events in the heart of the night. But if after hearing these stories you still want to know more about the mysteries hidden in your city, you'd better join us to discover them in the following videos. I assure you that you will never see the world the same way again.